We're live. Okie dokie. Hello, hello, everyone. I think we've got some folks here. Hello. Thank you for joining us for episode 79 of Pixel Pixel.
Mm-hmm.
We're here live from California, Los Angeles is what you got there, and Sydney. I don't know. Oh, hey, Capsule J. Hello, hello. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to our live show. This is the final Pixel Pixel episode of 2021 if you live in the US, but if you do not, if you live in Sydney like me or this side of the world, it's already 2022. That's hard to say. I'm gonna have a hard time
2022.
with this. 2022. Yep. We're here from the future. I'm here from the future. Marcus is still stuck in the past. The shitty 2021. But first, let
Mm-hmm.
me let me do the usual intro. I think I'll do it. Let's do it. Hello, everyone. You're here listening to Pixel Pixel Live, where the X is silent, but our love for games most definitely isn't. I'm one of your hosts, Anne, here in Sydney, and with me, as always, is your other host, Marcus, straight to you from LA.
Hi.
Hi. How are you doing, Marcus?
Um, I'm all right.
You're all right. That 2022 hype? Yeah?
Sure.
Are you hyped?
Sure. I
How
would have
was
been.
your
I would have
year?
been better if there wasn't news earlier today about
Oh, yes. Do you want to talk about the news? It's
Yes.
not really our podcast wheelhouse, but she's in a lot of media we've consumed,
Mm-hmm.
I'd say. So it is definitely relevant.
Yeah. So earlier today, the news finally came out that Betty White passed away, age 99.
Yeah, amazing.
She would have been 100 in a couple weeks. There was going to be a big old
Wow.
spectacle. There was going to be like this big documentary
Ugh.
type thing playing in theaters. You could go
Oh,
celebrate.
really? I didn't know that.
I mean, maybe that's still going on, but I have probably a different atmosphere now
Yeah.
than the
Uh,
intention. But yeah, so Betty White, awesome lady, been in bazillion hours of TV um, since the beginning of TV, basically. So I was most fond of her in The Golden Girls.
yes. That's
And
how I
then,
know her
yeah,
mostly.
that's my favorite thing. Was just watching the Golden Girls because I would watch that like every day I'd come home from school, and I would eat dinner and watch Golden Girls.
Aw.
So it was like a thing um, with me, and sometimes my mom would watch as well. We'd eat dinner together. So it was like a little bonding moment and fun.
Aw,
And
that's cute.
yes, even though that show now since you've seen some of it is extremely raunchy and
Yeah,
everything,
it's
but
pretty raunchy. But you want to hear what I watched with my mom with Sex in the City. So, I mean,
okay,
if we're talking raunchy,
yeah.
how old were you again?
This would have been probably from a ritual from like 14 to 17.
Okay, yep, that was my Sex in the City years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, think of that what you will.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, very sad news, very sad way to end 2021, which some might say wasn't a great year to begin with. So, can only get better from here. No, I gotta say, I'm not one of these people that's like, reflect on the year and like, oh yeah, 2021 was horrible. Let's get rid of it and move on to 2022 and we're gonna figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like everybody said that with 2020 as well. And it's like
Yes.
it's the year has nothing to do with anything, you know? And it has been kind of bad for a little while now, and we're all just dealing with it, you know?
Yep.
Yep. But let me just take a moment to say hello to the folks in chat. We've got MDis Playlist here too. So fun seeing 2021 and 2022 on the left and right sides at the same time here live. You've got one foot in the past and one foot in the future. I'm here to tell you 2022 already awesome. I give it a thumb up.
Good.
You've got lots to look forward to, Marcus.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. And yeah, Castle J saying that I think that sounds more like the last dregs of 2021 energy, probably referring to Betty White, I would assume. It seems like one last like
Mm-hmm.
kick to the groin at the end of the year, being like, huh, yeah, as if it weren't bad enough. Yeah, I
Hmm.
don't know. I mean, we're just all surviving. I'm glad you're all here. We're still here, enjoying podcasting. You have any highlights from the year, Marcus, from your life? I mean, we're gonna talk about media highlights later, but anything you look back at 2021, what do you think? What do you say?
I didn't think about my life. I made my nice list of media. I didn't think about anything
Okay,
else.
you didn't ask me to think about my life, man. I always tend to do that. Just that's what I do. I make a little, list of like, oh, here's some things I did this year, to think about. And then I'm like, oh my God, this all happened this year. It was long. Feels so short,
I
yet
built
feels
an
so
arcade
long.
machine. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. That was good. You built a PC for your friend.
Mm-hmm.
You built lots of things. I got a new job.
Mm-hmm.
That was good. Yeah, MDix Play was saying 2021 was the year of survival. I would say yes. Luckily for all of us here, it was. That's for sure. And Curse Blessing in the chat. Happy New Year. Hello, hello. So today's format, by the way, for the show is going to be a bit different than usual. Of course, if you're tuning in live, you get to see our lovely faces here. And we're going to be doing media minutes first because there's no news. There's no news at the end of year. Everybody's off. So we're not doing news. We're going to start with our media minutes, talk about what we've been watching, playing, reading, whatever first. And then we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back with our instead of the what you're working on section, this is going to be we've been working on this. We've been working on our yearly media favorites list. So we're going to have our special favorite things of the year that we've consumed. And I think broadly, we've got movies, games. Well, you've got movies and games. I've got TV show and manga as well on my list. Something, just things we've been
Mm.
doing. So, folks in chat, if you want to, when that second section of the show comes on, let us know what some of your favorite media is from 2021, and we'll definitely give you a shout out in the podcast. And if you're listening to the episode after the fact, well, you can comment on the blog post and let us know, or give us a tweet or something and let us know what your favorite things from 2021 were. Of course, this is stuff that you personally consumed in 2021 because we don't care about any of this. Oh, they only came out in 2021. That's the only thing that'll count. Because honestly, as you all know, if you've been listening to the show, Marcus and I do not really consume a lot of like current stuff. Maybe me a little more than you. Would you say that, Marcus? I would say
Yes.
I'm a little more up to date. But I'm not playing the hit AAA games like
Nothing you can even
what
name.
I can't even name it. What came out this year? I mean, I played Resident
Deathloop.
Evil Village. That was hot at one point. Yeah, I didn't play Deathloop. I don't know, Call of Duty, whatever. That's my AAA go-to. um, yeah. So yeah, I'm not gonna be playing anything that probably most what game people were talking about, but I have some 2021 hits that I can talk about too. But anyway, before that, Marcus, what have you been watching and or playing lately?
More. I mean, mainly I've been playing Garage still.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's right. And you've been streaming a bit too.
yeah, I've been streaming Garage whenever I play it, basically, because I really like that game so far. Almost done, I think.
I think,
Um,
but didn't you say that last time? You're like,
yeah,
this is
well,
the stream where
yeah,
I'm gonna finish it, and then there's always something more to do.
yeah. Well, it's an adventure game, so it likes to keep having one more thing
Mm-hmm.
to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
Mm-hmm.
getting there. I'm certainly in like the later stages of the game anyway. So I've been playing that, enjoying that. A lot of fun. I hope that they bring it to like PC sometime because that would expand the audience a lot. Because a lot of people don't like to play games on their phones. I don't. That's why I've been doing everything in my
You make it,
everything
yeah,
possible to not play it on my phone.
yeah. So
Um,
you've been making an exception for Garage. It's just,
well, no,
special
because I'm not
occasion.
playing it on my phone. At first, I was playing it on my Chromebook until I realized I couldn't complete it because it isn't compatible. And then I switched to running it on my phone, but casting the phone to my NVIDIA Shield.
So it's wait, NVIDIA Shield would be on the TV then,
Mm-hmm.
or on a PC
Mm-hmm.
monitor. Okay.
I
So
can
yeah,
connect a
anything to
mouse.
make them not feel like it's on a
Yes.
phone.
Exactly. So much effort. I'm putting in so much effort.
You're like, I don't want this phone experience.
I
Anything.
don't.
It's when you think about it, isn't it weird? It was originally a PC game, but they
Yes.
brought it to phones instead of PC. Like, wouldn't you think that'd be the easier thing?
I mean, they could bring it to PC. It's running on Unity, so
Hmm.
it could easily they
So
could
that
port
means it
it.
would be, yeah, right.
They could even put
Okay.
it to console. Um, but they just I don't know. They just chose to do phones for now.
Yeah, I was gonna say when you said port it to console, I was thinking of it on like the Nintendo Switch, which would be great, but I don't know the content that they would allow it. There's some weird
Mm,
stuff in there. I don't know. The
um,
Switch has some
they
weird stuff
would.
though.
They
It
would.
would be
It's
okay.
fine.
It's abstract enough,
It's fine.
and
Yeah.
they don't check these things thoroughly enough
It's
anyway. They're not
surreal.
gonna know. Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I guess I should say I too have been playing Garage. I picked it up mm, maybe a little over a week ago, probably, after you hounded me to do it. But of course, I was very interested already. But I've been playing on my iPad, which I think is actually pretty good. Like, I think when I think about it, playing on a phone would feel very tiny and you wouldn't get all of the detail. It'd just be, I don't think it would be that nice. But my iPad is, how big is my iPad? Maybe 11-inch. It's big enough. Like I think the detail was there. You can see everything, and I don't feel like I'm playing on a phone. Which I also don't really like playing game. Like I have playing games on my phone before, but I don't gravitate towards it. So it's a good way to do it, and I'm very interested to see what happens. It is a very surreal game. Uh, I don't even really know what to say about it yet. I think we'll probably have to have a maybe a spoiler cast. I don't know, or at least
some
a
sort of
section of the
discussion.
podcast. Yeah, some sort of discussion where we really hash it out and we talk about the themes and like what's going on and what it's doing because it's very cool, but very yeah, abstract, surreal, kind of. Would you say creepy? Would you say creepy? Unsettling, maybe. Some unsettling stuff, like the milky. What is it called? Milky fluid situation. I don't. Yeah,
Yeah, the milky fuel.
fuel. There we go. Fuel. We don't know what milky fuel really is. Okay, it's made from crabs, isn't it? Digested crabs.
Or frogs.
Frogs. Crabs are frogs. Anyway, if you're in the chat and you haven't had a chance to check out Garage, I would recommend it too. I know Marcus has already said very good things about it, but
Mhm.
sorry, I'm commandeering your media minutes. What else have you got, Marcus?
um, I don't have a lot to say about these movies, but I did watch two movies about disasters in theme parks, like within a couple days of each other,
Hmm?
not intentionally. Kind of. Well, they weren't. I didn't intend to. I wasn't like I want to watch movies about theme park disasters, but they've both been on my list for a while. One was Roller Coaster, and the other one was The Death of Ocean View Park. So those are the two. Roller Coaster is like about where someone is like putting bombs in like various theme parks. Um, and so like the police people are like, oh, we gotta find this guy and somehow trap him before he does it again. Um, and the death of Ocean View Park was like some the whole theme park is gonna explode because of like there was a weather event and like it kind of messed up something and so like this like natural gas line is gonna explode that's underneath or by the theme park. And how they don't know. Only one person knows, which is this woman who is having premonitions of the theme park exploding.
Okay.
So she's like, something's gonna
Premonition.
happen, and her
Hmm.
trying to figure out if she's crazy or if this is real, if she has the power of precognition. Um, but even though she knows, like no one else knows, anyway. So it's just a very so they're similar but different. Um, they were all right. They were all right. The only problem with Roller Coaster is I like watched it on YouTube and the YouTube video is like the weirdest thing. It's like like they had the full movie, like whatever size it is, and then they like cropped it like close up, so just a portion of it, and then they put like a vignette around it, so it's like you can't, it's like gray around the edges, and I think they did it so like YouTube algorithms wouldn't be able to like recognize it as like as a as content that is that they shouldn't have posted on YouTube, because it's just some random person who put it up there. It wasn't like the official
Uh,
movie. So
yeah,
like did stuff effects to it to try to make it look like not, I guess, the
right.
same video, so to
Uh-huh.
be easily targeted. I'm like, this is a very unpleasant way to watch this, but I watched the whole thing.
It was really unpleasant, but I watched it all
I've been
anyway.
wanting to watch it, so I was like, I need to watch this damn movie, and so I did.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Well, have I talked to you about theme parks, roller coasters before? Do you like a roller coaster, like in real life?
I don't know if we've talked about it before. I am extremely I'm an extremely big baby when it comes to roller coasters. I will ride them if friends want to, except
Mhm.
for I will not do a roller coaster that loops. I will not.
So you
I will
will
not
not
go
go
on a roller
upside
coaster that
down.
loops. Yeah.
Okay. And the reason being, you're a
It's
big
just too
baby.
much. I already don't like it. I don't want to fucking do the loop. Just
Yeah.
more reason to hate it.
Okay. Well, that's interesting that you want to watch the theme park movies though, and the documentaries and all of that. Well, especially if horrible things happening, I'm sure that doesn't help your interest in roller
Well, I'm not
coasters.
afraid of the roller coaster that like it's gonna explode. I am just like
You're
I
afraid
don't
of
like
falling out, are you? I don't know if you went upside down.
I don't
What
like
are you
the
afraid of?
sensation.
Oh,
I don't like those feelings. I don't like it. It's
I don't
not
like the
good.
feeling.
People are screaming happily and I'm like screaming like I'm dying. Um
I would kind of like to see that when I come visit. I'll be like, all right, Marcus, we're going.
because that's how I feel. I scream and I will like hold you or whoever I'm with like cuz I'm so scared. Uh,
I would, I haven't been on a roller coaster in a really long time, so I don't know how I feel now, but I was like pretty okay with them. Like, I would be a bit nervous, like, when you're going up the thing and it's like inching towards the top, and you're like, oh no, it's coming, and then you go down. And I'd be like, you have this stomach drop feeling, but then after that, I'd be like, oh, yeah, okay.
I don't like that
It's a
feeling.
bit intense. I don't
Also,
really
it
like it.
doesn't help that for a long time I was extremely light. So I don't know if this is the case for everyone, but I feel like I'm sliding a lot more than I should be in the seats, and then I'm off. My
Yeah.
ass is not on the floor of the seat. I'm just like in the
I
air,
don't, yeah,
and if
yeah.
the only
I
thing
want to
holding
feel
you is a
really
bar, like you could
secure.
fly out.
No, that's scary. I don't like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that might be part of it. Um,
It sounds like M's playlist in the chat also feels similarly. He doesn't like them because they make him nauseous. But if it didn't make him nauseous, you would want to ride more of them? Okay, yeah. I mean, you don't. Who wants to feel sick? Nobody. You don't want to get on it like, they have barf bags and things. Like, people do throw up after going on it. Well, who would. I can't imagine anyone would willingly do that knowing that it would make them feel that way.
Maybe if they had a
Like,
lot of fun.
would you have fun throwing up?
No, but if you enjoy roller
Fun before.
coasters,
I guess the same question could be asked about drinking, right?
yeah, there you go.
You don't have fun throwing up, but you have fun before throwing up.
There you go. But
M
yeah,
dislikes a giant water slide. Have you done a giant water slide?
I don't like water parks at all.
I haven't really been in them. They seem like this is such a curmudgeon-y thing to say. They seem like so much effort. I don't want to like have to change, and then I'm gonna get all wet, and then what? I'm gonna walk around all wet, dripping wet in the theme park. No, I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when it's hot and your wet clothes, like, or your bathing suit, whatever, you're getting all sticky and ugh,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't sound fun. Sorry, that was a bit of a tangent, but we were talking about roller coasters, so it
Yes.
seemed appropriate. I've been on. I went to Six Flags. Is there Six
Sure.
Flags where you are? Are they
Yes.
all over?
I
Yeah, I
think they're
think I
around the
went to
United
one.
States. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I went to some in New York, or one in New York State. That was probably the closest one to me. I went there a few times, and they had like the oldest or biggest like wooden roller coaster, and I was like, this
Sure.
doesn't seem safe, but I went on it anyway, and I'm still here. So, but I do not like those movies where, yeah, there's some like tragic incident at a theme park. No,
Well, I mean, it
no,
happens every so often.
it's true. It's true. Okay, well, next up, you got anything else you want to mention?
Specifically, no, but we have a movie we can talk about together.
Hmm.
Who's
I
going?
can talk about it if you want. You're looking at the list. You know how many things I'm going to talk about. If you want me to start, I'll get
Oh,
started. We'll talk first about this one that we watched together.
okay.
Continuing our, what are we calling it? Waters Watch.
Yes, John Waters.
Yeah, John Waters films 2021 Waters Watch. We still have more to do after
Yes.
Pink Flamingo. We do. So it's continuing to 2022, continuing the watch. Um, yes. So we watched Pink Flamingos. This is one it sounded like you really wanted me to watch. Like you were really hyping this one. And I would you say it's your favorite? Is that why, or you just wanted to see my reaction? Because it's quite something.
I don't know that it's my favorite, but it is certainly an iconic movie, kind of a big deal in the world
Hmm.
of John Waters. And also
Hmm.
because it's like everything we've seen up till now has been relatively, I mean, there's weirdness, but it's relatively palatable.
Yeah, this went extreme. It's funny that we watched Titan together and then we watched this because afterwards I was like, this seemed way more extreme to me than Titan. Like if you're gonna compare the two, uh, so Pink Flamingos, if you're in the chat or listening at home after the fact and you're not familiar, is a Jotters Waters John Waters film from, don't know the
1971?
year. Nice. Okay, 1971. We're gonna say that. You look confused, but I
I'll
believe
double
you.
check, but
From early
oh, hold
1970s
on.
is probably
1972, it says.
okay. Still early 1970s, 1972. Uh, so we're going backwards in the Waters filmography. This one is about, it's got Divine as the like lead again. Divine was in at least two of the films we watched. She was in Polyester
Yes.
and Hairspray. I think those are the
Yes, she's
two
the
I've
mom in
seen.
Hairspray.
Yeah. So, and Divine is in a lot of John Waters films, right? They kind of work
Yes.
together a lot over her career. She's passed away, but this film is centered on her and her family. They live in a trailer, and Divine is the self-proclaimed filthiest person alive. I
Mm-hmm.
But there's these other people. I don't even remember their names. Do you remember this couple? What is a couple?
Yeah, I don't remember
And they
their character names now.
okay. Well, there's a couple that they think they're the filthiest people alive, and I don't know, is Divine like in the paper or something?
Yeah.
I don't know how they hear about her. I guess yeah, she was reported on, and they hear that they're like, who dare say that she's the filthiest person alive when we're way filthier and like that. So they basically want to show her up and prove that they're even more filthy, which as a premise is just a wild premise to me. Everything about that is so, it's like, okay, sure. So you kind of can already, I think, expect like some weirdness, right, from
Filth.
that premise. But then it goes places that I certainly didn't expect, except for some things I had read because I forget why. I wanted to look up something related to the film. Oh, I was reading up on the film and found out that it was banned in Australia. It's still banned in Australia. It's not available here. You can't watch it here legally because of some of the content. So I was like, whoa, dang. So I kind of did know, like, as we were watching, that a couple of things were going to happen, but I had no idea the context and
Mm-hmm.
definitely didn't know all of it. Come to think of it, do you think talking about some of this content would get us banned on Twitch, XX rated or something? I don't
Um,
know. Well, the chicken
I don't
scene,
think so because it's a podcast.
eh, and we're talking with our words.
We're not showing any pictures.
Yes, but
This isn't
yes, this
YouTube. Or the worst would happen, you
okay,
get like demonetized. There's no money.
yeah, okay. Because there's no money here, folks. I don't know if you do that, but in fact, we're hemorrhaging money in this podcast, if anything. Yeah. Well, Pink Flamingos was definitely a weird one. I wouldn't say I loved it, but I didn't hate it. If that
Mm-hmm.
uh makes sense. I think I appreciated parts of it a lot. There were some really good lines. I wish I could
Yes.
remember them, but in the moment, I know I remember eggs, 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 but
A
this
great
one
line.
character, yeah, very iconic line, eggs, eggs, eggs. This one lady who just loves her eggs, and I thought that was really funny. But no, some of the stuff the woman and the couple says, I think those were some of my favorite
Mm-hmm.
lines. Uh, but again, I can't remember. And I do remember that there was one really unfortunate aspect where I was telling Marcus as we're watching, oh, this guy kind of reminds me of my dad when he was
Oh
young.
yeah.
I've seen photos of my dad when he was younger. And then that guy goes on to do some really horrible stuff. And I'm like, oh no, you don't want to be reminded of your father. And then have this character who's like, basically, impregnating women against their will. And then they like sell the babies. And yeah, it's really bad. So that was unfortunate. You were probably like, oh no, as soon as you heard me say that. But yeah, it was yeah, interesting. How did you feel watching it again, Marcus? I'm sure you remembered all the shocking stuff, right?
I remember it in
Yeah.
general. Um, actually, I didn't remember everything. I remember the chicken thing,
Uh,
and the butthole
the
thing.
butthole. Yeah, the butthole thing. That was actually probably one of the most like, oh my god, like it really showed a lot,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Um,
It, yeah.
those are the main things I remembered. But
Not the dog poo at the
I mean, I
end.
know that, but I didn't specifically remember when it happens.
I was reading up on that, so apparently Divina actually ate real dog feces for that scene. And there was an interview with her where she basically told her mom not to watch the film because she didn't want her mom to see it. And they did some research on like would consuming dog feces like really hurt you as a person or like make you really sick, and they determined that it would be okay to do it once. I don't know, I mean, I don't think she like ingested it or like purposely
Yeah,
swallowed it. It seemed like she just put it in her mouth, but I can't, yeah, I don't know. So when we're saying all this stuff about how like intense this film is and like how gross or like wild it is, but like it's clearly I want to talk about the like critical merit of the film. I don't know. It's
mm-hmm.
like a cult classic, right? And when John Waters is a gay man, and there's clearly some kind of commentary going on here. But do you like watch this film and like you know see it as a satire, or like what do you just think it's like he's just totally out there, or do you think there's some kind of message? I don't know, like because I have a hard time watching something that's like so like wild and crazy and maybe there's humor in it, but if I can't like get a message out of it, I'm like, what was the point of that? I'm
I think
asking
most of
you
his
to.
movies are satirical in some way. A lot of them kind of making fun of or referencing his youth and kind of Americana, 50s Americana. I've seen a lot of his movies, really. Um, is there really a specific point to the filthiest person alive challenge? Not necessarily, but
I mean,
it's
I'm surprised
fun.
that hasn't come back, with all the stuff the kids are doing these days. Filthy personal lives seems up there.
Yeah.
Filthiest person 2022.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now I'm looking forward to you watching Female Trouble. That would be, I think, next.
Okay.
That's a fun one. That's
Yeah,
fun, in my opinion. So.
sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, you say none of the other films in his filmography are as shocking as Pink Flamingos?
I think Pink Flamingos is the most shocking, yes.
Okay, I passed the hurdle. I made it.
Mm-hmm.
Good job, me. Well, I look forward to watching more in the coming year. And now I guess I get to talk about all the stuff I watched. Because I didn't really play anything aside from Garage. I have kind of put Fata Morgana on hold for a little bit. I'm gonna be honest, I feel like it's dragging a little bit where I am right now. I'm gonna vaguely talk about where I am for your reference, mostly Marcus, but it's in the part where
I mean, I
there's
don't really remember.
well, I'm gonna talk about it anyway. You're learning about the three men, the three important men in Morgana's life.
Yes, that's what you said
Yeah.
last time.
Yeah, oh, is it? So then I'm still there, but
Mm-hmm.
I found that that was dragging a bit, so I have put it down for a little while to play Garage, but I'll go back. I want to finish it. But I did watch a lot of movies, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna quickly go through. I will call this the holiday bundle. I watched a bunch of dumb holiday movies because sometimes, you're in the mood for dumb holiday movies. I watched two films with very similar titles, Jingle All the Way and Single All the Way. Jingle All the Way being the Arnold Schwarzenegger film from, I don't know, sometime in the 90s. It's about he's a dad and he's trying to get this rare toy Turbo Man for his son because he's a bad father and he wants to make his son happy. And it was very cheesy, like very like bad 90s comedy. There were some good bits, but overall I was kind of like, I just wanted to see Arnold in this weird comedic role. And that was fun, I guess.
Have you seen Kindergarten
Single,
Cop?
no.
You should watch
Is
that.
that
That's fun.
better? That's fun.
Mm.
Okay, I'll put it
Yeah.
on the list. I like Arnold Schwarzenegger in roles that you don't expect him to be in, like not like the buff action hero
I
type
mean, he's
stuff.
still buff.
Okay, he's always buff. Action hero part. Anyway, the other one, Single All the Way, is a new Netflix Christmas movie about a guy who always goes home for Christmas and he is pretty much always single when he goes home. And he doesn't want his family to give him a hard time. He's sick of all the questions. So he's going to bring his roommate and best friend home and say that this is my boyfriend. We finally gotten together. He's gay, by the way. I didn't say that. He's a gay guy. So the protagonist is gay. And yeah, so he's gonna bring his male roommate home and say, we've been friends for a long time, but we finally gotten together. And that's the premise. But then he goes home and turns out his mom has hooked him up on a blind date with I don't know, is it maybe it's not considered a blind date. I'm gonna say the premise and you tell me if this is a blind date. She has arranged a date with him and her like P I was gonna say PE teacher. It's not her PE teacher. It's her gym trainer, some trainer guy from the gym she goes to. So she taught the trainer is a hot gay guy, and she's like, "Hey, my son's gay, and he's cute. Here's his photo." And then she has like arranged a date, blind date or no? I
I think it's a blind date still.
think so,
They
right?
don't know
Because
each
one
other
of the parties
specifically.
doesn't never met,
Yeah.
so they've been set up. Okay, so yes, she set him up with her trainer, and the guy, begrudgingly goes on this date with the trainer, but it turns out the trainer is super hot and nice and really into him. And so then they sort of like go back on their decision to him and his roommate decide not to tell his parents that they're dating. And so that he starts dating this other guy. But oh no, the roommate and him actually do have feelings for each other. And it's like a bit of a triangle and all that shenanigans. It was quite cute. Like, I would recommend it as a cute holiday film. Go into it knowing it's really cheesy, but it was nice to see, gay male leads in like one of those Hallmark style holiday films. So I enjoyed that one. Then I watched a bad movie called Snowmance on Amazon Prime. It's snow plus romance. It's about a girl who, with her male best friend, every year they build a snowman together. That's She projects her ideal man of her dreams onto the snowman. And like the guy friend is secretly in love with her, but he goes along with this every year to like cheer her up because she can't find her true love or something. It's like the wildest premise. And then one day the snowman just it wakes up and it's a human. And so there's his this the premise is that the snowman man for some reason is in love with her and doing all this stuff to woo her, and she is convinced that it's her ideal man. But then her best friend guy, who happens to be a cartoonist, is really jealous of human snowman man, which of course that's a secret, and it's never even revealed that the other guy is a snowman. Like they never find this out. He's just this weird dude that appears, but he has all these weird quirks related to the fact that he's a snowman. Like when he's served cooked carrots on a plate, he actually like screams. He's like, ah! He has a carrot nose, you know, he doesn't want to eat his own nose. I don't know. It's so dumb that I actually really enjoyed it. It's just the dumbest premise. Yeah, it sounds like an Amazon published romance novel. Snowmance, yes. Anyway, I would recommend that one too, honestly. And then finally, The Princess Switch is another Netflix one I watched. You know what? Not really much to say. I also enjoyed it, but it was dumb. It's about a girl who is a baker, and she gets like entered in this baking contest, holiday baking contest, where she flies off to some remote European country where, of course, it's beautiful and snowy and perfect Christmas setting. And it turns out there's a princess there who looks exactly like her, and they switch places. Shenanigans. You know, that one's pretty predictable, but also fun. So that's all my holiday specials. I have also watched two horror movies by the director who did the House on Haunting Haunting of Hill House TV series.
uh, yeah, is it
Right?
Mike Flanagan, right?
Yes, Mike Flanagan. Yeah. So the films are called Hush and Gerald's Game, which for some reason I always want to call it Gerard's Game. I don't
Me
know why.
too.
Really? Oh my god! I feel better now because Sean keeps going like, and it's Gerald's game. Like I just keep I don't know why. Gerard's game. Oh, okay. I'm glad it's not only me. But yes. So first I watched Hush, so I'll talk about that first. It's like from 2017, and it is about a woman who is deaf and mute, and she lives alone, and she is terrorized in her house by a horrible intruder who kills her neighbor and is out to get her too. I thought that this one was actually very well done in a lot of places. It wasn't like I would say it's like my all-time favorite movie or anything, or even top 10 or anything like that, but I thought it was quite fun, which is a weird thing to say, but it was well done, interesting. The female character I thought was really engaging. She was of course like scared and horrified about what's happening to her, but she also like took charge and tried to manage in some ways, and I won't spoil anything, but I like how they portrayed that, if that makes sense. The I don't know that I've seen a lot of home invasion films, so I couldn't say, but they don't really give you any context to this attacker, like why he's doing it, what his backstory is, what his motivations are, anything. It's just like here's a scary guy out to get her. So I guess maybe it's trying to be more about the victim than the person, but person attacking her. But I guess as like a plot, it's there's not much plot there. It's like this is what you see is what you get. It's someone attacking this lady and she's trying to survive, and that's it. Uh, but yeah, and not bad. I would recommend that one. I would not so much recommend Gerard's Game. Gerald's Game. It's the title, Gerald's Game. That is another movie again by the same director, based on a Stephen King novella. So I sent the premise to Marcus because I was like, ooh, I saw the premise. It says, and Marcus, you might be interested in this. And the one sentence like plot was that oh, I wish I could find it in the chat. I don't think I'm gonna be able to. Wait. Wait.
It was like a woman accidentally kills her husband.
During foreplay?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. A woman, that's literally it. A woman accidentally kills her husband during foreplay. That is the sentence pitch. I'm gonna, spoilers, I guess, for the beginning of this film. Sorry, everyone, if you want to watch it, but that is wrong. It's 100% wrong, and it made me so mad at how wrong it is. She doesn't accidentally kill him. He fucking overdoses on Viagra willingly. He does it. And she didn't do anything. She doesn't accidentally do anything. It made me so bad. I'm like, who the hell wrote this? Should be like, idiot husband accidentally dies during foreplay or something. You know, like just don't put it on the woman. It made me so mad. Like she didn't accidentally do anything. It wasn't like she didn't say like, honey, you should take more. You're not, you know, like you're not getting it up. I think you should have more. She didn't goad him. She didn't do anything. He just like went for it. So that already made me mad. And then so the premise of the film after that is, you know, that happens very early on. They have like a you know, difficult marriage and they haven't had sex in a long time. So they go to their like, of course they're rich. They go to their remote beach house or whatever, and they're gonna have like a sexy time, which includes him handcuffing her to the bed. And so when he dies from his overdose, he has a heart attack as a result of taking all this Viagra. She's stuck to the bed with his dead body there, and she has to cope slash escape. So the film is basically all that. And there's some really gruesome parts that really skeeve me out in a big way. As I've mentioned on the show before, like very I feel like it's very specific things, but like grotesque visually grotesque stuff really gets me. So, you know, I Marcus, if you and I watch, you know, something and you know that something bad's coming up, you'll warn me, and that's very helpful. But so usually I can kind of tell when something
Mhm.
horrible is coming up. And like in this film, I literally had to just not look. I was like, Sean, tell me when it's over. I can't look at this. I'm not gonna explain what it was for because it's pretty big spoilers, but it was yeah, it was really bad. And then I kind of like turned and just in time to see some of it. It was it was so bad. Uh there's like some potentially implied supernatural stuff, or you know, you're not sure whether it's supernatural or you know what's going on. I didn't really like the way they explained that, but it seemed very Stephen Kingy to me, even though I mean, I've seen a few Stephen King adaptations. But yeah, overall, I think the main thing that pissed me off was that stupid sentence summary, and then it's
Yeah.
like a very miserable movie. I don't think I'm giving away too much by saying that she has some like childhood trauma, childhood sexual trauma that is really, I mean, there's nothing graphic, like visually graphic, but they really show and go into it a lot in a way that just like the whole movie just made me feel like, ugh, this is just horrible, you know, the whole time. I see in the chat some people have seen this. Oh, MDisc Playlist and Bunny Cartoon have both seen this film. Bunny Cartoon says that that one scene literally made her nauseous, and she doesn't usually get that affected by horror movies. So there you go. Yeah, it was a pretty brutal scene.
Well,
Uh,
just make me want to watch it. Okay.
well, I mean, you can. You watch it and let me know.
Okay.
You've got Netflix? No, you don't have Netflix, but you know, you can get it, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can borrow my Netflix login.
Yeah, there you
We're
go.
friends.
No, I do have
There you
access
go.
to yours
Oh yeah, you do. That's right.
already.
I forgot. How could I forget?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, I have one more movie. Sorry, everyone. I've just been watching movies left, right, and center this holiday. The last one I wanted to talk about is The Headhunter. This is another one on Amazon Prime. Um, I'm gonna tell you how I found it because Marcus thought this was really shocking. I was just scrolling through things on Amazon Prime, and it caught my attention, and I was like, Sean, you want to watch this? And he said, yeah. That's literally it. That's literally how we found this film. And we decided, you're shaking your head. If you're not watching, you won't get this one. Marcus is shaking his head at me. He can't believe it. How could you just randomly pick a movie?
It's too
He says.
much. It's too much for
This
me.
Well, to be fair, I did look up like reviews to make sure like
It
if it
doesn't.
had gotten, I know you say it doesn't matter, but I feel like Rotten Tomatoes had like a 20%, I wouldn't watch it. If it was like that bad, if it's like middling, I'm okay. Whatever, I'll watch it.
Why?
Why would you watch a 20%?
Yes, I would, and I have, but I don't watch it because of a percentage. I watch a movie because I have been recommended or something.
By who?
Either people on podcasts or people that I'm friends with, or just in general from me researching movies. Like, this is an important thing that I should watch.
Okay. Okay.
I
Well,
cannot randomly choose a movie I've never heard of before. Absolutely, I would die.
you would
Click
die. Oh my
play, and I
god.
would die.
You would just shrivel up and blow away in the wind. Okay, well I'm okay. I'm still here, even though I watched this random movie. Um, I was gonna say it's from 2021, but I don't think it is. I think it's from 2018. I did look it up. What's really interesting about this film is that it was done on a very limited budget. $30,000 is what Wikipedia tells me. $30,000 budget. Less than 100 words are spoken in the film, and there's pretty much just one actor. There's a guy and there's a little girl who is in a couple of very brief scenes, but so the guy is the focus. It's about this man. He's a dad, but his daughter was killed by a monster, and he is a headhunter. He hunts monsters and he collects their heads and brings them home to his rural hut. So he's basically just this mad medieval man. This is like takes place in medieval European setting, so it's like very like high fantasy vibe. But to be honest, you don't really see a lot. It's like this guy who's a warrior in nature, and trekking around doing his thing, killing monsters, but you don't really see a lot of it because you can imagine with that budget, like they didn't film these epic fight scenes, or like they didn't have the CG to make these monsters like big and scary. But I thought it was really well done in the presentation for what they had, and actually makes it more unique because it visually it does things that like imply an atmosphere without necessarily showing you everything, and sometimes that can be quite neat. For example, like he's walking outside at one point and you see the shadow go over his head, and from the size and shape of the shadow that it's a dragon or something, a wyvern, whatever. And he kind of looks up and makes a face. And that's literally it. That's all you see. But you like get this idea that there's all these magical things in the world without constantly seeing them everywhere. So, being able to imagine it and imagine the fight scenes or imagine the monsters is really interesting. So it's a very like dark, moody film. A lot of it takes place at night. This guy's just like, the grouchy, what's grouchy, what am I thinking of? I'm waving my hands. I
I
can't
don't
think of
know.
the word. The grouchy lone huntsman. Huntsman? Like in, I don't know, stories where they're like, okay, we gotta call in the like Uber hunter to come help us slay this beast. And then he comes in, he's all like haggard, and people are like, we don't know what he does, but he just lives in the woods and
Mm-hmm.
does his own thing. Like, this is that kind of character. It's like that character's perspective on the world, which I thought was neat. And yeah, so he's just trying to kill monsters. And I think his end goal is to avenge his daughter's death by slaying the monster that killed her. That's the premise. I won't say any more about that, but I actually really recommend it because of the atmosphere and the way they did everything. I thought was really interesting. So, just a very different kind of film. So, thumbs up from me. And that's it. That's it for Media Minutes. We made it. Sorry for going on forever, but I've been enjoying watching stuff lately. So, I guess we're going to take a short break, a short drink break, pee break, what have you. Everyone in the chat, again, our next section is going to be our favorite media from the year. Again, this could be something that came out in 2021 or just something that we consumed, I'm doing air quotes, consumed in 2021. So be it movie, game, film, what have you. If you're in the chat and you'd like to share your favorites, we'll read some of those off on air, and we'll also be sharing our favorites in just a minute after this break. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in a bit.
Okay, we're
All
back.
right, we are back. Hello, hello, we're back, and we're going to talk about our, I didn't name this section, yearly favorites, favorite media of 2021. And we've broken this down into media type. So we're going to go movies first. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Marcus, favorite movies you personally have watched in 2021. Go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I tried to make a list of, I think it's five. One, two, three, four,
Did you arbitrarily
five.
say I'm going to include five, or was that just what you
That's
came up
just what
with?
came up. It ended up being
Okay.
five.
Yes, by the way, I should say to everyone, we have no numbers, we have no order.
Yeah.
We're just throwing them out there. I have one movie that I picked from this year.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, what are your five?
Okay, the first one is Yentl from 1983,
Mm-hmm.
starring Barbara Streisand. It's a musical about this character who, named Yentl, wants to study like Judaism and stuff, but isn't able to because it's like a historical piece. So only the men are allowed to study. So she dresses up as a man and goes to school and excels. Um, Falls in love with a guy and all the things that happen because of that.
But then she marries a woman, right?
Yeah, she
She
does.
does.
She does end up marrying a woman. But yeah, this movie was so good. Like, I don't understand why nobody ever talks about it. I'm like, what? This movie's so good.
It
It's so
was quite
good.
fun.
I
Yes,
like.
I
Yeah, you liked
sorry.
it. You had
I
fun.
did. I was almost gonna put it on my favorite list. I was like, I don't know if it was quite high enough for me to be a favorite of the year, but it was quite good. It was up there.
Yeah, it was good. I watched it like 3 times this year. Usually, I don't watch movies multiple times unless I'm watching them with someone, and even then, it's not like in a short time span. Usually, um, so I watched it a lot. I really liked it. I really liked the music and the story. I like the characters. I like the protagonist and all that's going on there because there is a lot going on. I feel with sexuality, kind of. Um, Even if the movie doesn't like entirely address it, there's some things going on that I think are interesting,
Mm.
and I really like it. And I like also the concept that Barbara Streisand is trying to get this movie made for like ever, but only finally happened in 1980, in the 80s, which is why, unfortunately, that she had to play a teenager when she was like 40. But whatever.
It was fine. You
It
know.
works.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like that movie a lot. I think it's good, and I would absolutely recommend it to anyone. I'm not sure if it's easy to see
Mm.
necessarily. I saw it on like TCM, and then I think it was like on a like over the air station at some point because I randomly remember seeing it again, and it's like on DVD and Blu-ray, but from BFI. Um, so that's not like a US disc.
Mm.
That's a British
Okay.
disc. But whatever. I love that movie. So that was one. That's my top. If there was a top, that's the top. But everything else
Oh,
is not really
okay.
numbered.
Wow. All right.
It's so good. So yeah, then I watched Edge of 17 from 1998, which is a coming of age movie about this young man discovering, that he's gay and trying to navigate what that's like, what a relationship is like, in that realm, and makes friends with gay people and all that stuff. Um, I really like this movie. Um, I think it's really well done. It doesn't have a depressing ending. Um, I thought it was very good, and the main character I was very fond of. Really liked him, and his best friend. She's real cool. Um, I love a lot of movies where there's like a gay male and a woman best friend dynamic. Anne, why
Uh-huh.
are you doing like?
Like us?
Yes, exactly.
Uh,
I love that dynamic. I love it so much. So,
that's nice.
um,
I like that you say this film doesn't have a sad ending. So
mhm,
I feel like, a lot of these types of movies, especially coming of age, it's someone that has, a different gender, sexuality. It's not always a happy story.
mhm. But this one did have it was not a sad ending. So I was happy with that, and just glad to see another movie that I hadn't seen before. Um,
Hmm.
a lot of the, a lot of gay movies that are from like between the 70s and 90s, unless they're really well known, they kind of get lost, and it's hard to find them.
Mm.
So it's always nice when you can get them. I don't know if I saw this one on Criterion Channel, but Criterion Channel has this banner for movies, and they call it like queer sided, which is like films by queer directors or about queer topics. And so they often put up things that are like really obscure. So it's like, ooh, when I tried to get
That's
this
cool.
on Netflix DVD, like I had to wait a year, and then when the disc came, it was cracked in half.
Oh my god.
Like it's hard. These are hard to get movies. At least they were. So it's always nice when they're available. But I really liked Edge of 17. I also liked Miss 45 from 1981, which is, well, it's basically a rape revenge film. But the revenge aspect is very, very over the top, I would say. Um, because it's not just like I'm going to get back the specific person who harmed me. It's more like all men and like in interesting ways. And she's a super badass. Also, in relation to Hush, I think she's also mute. Just another thing.
Okay.
Um, but this movie is very stylish, very famous in regards to the genre, I guess. Um, and I was like, whoa, this is really good. Like, a lot of times this genre is not great. Um,
The genre being revenge films, or
yes,
sorry. Okay.
yes. A lot of
Just so
times
we
it's
can clarify.
not good or
Yeah.
is too focused on showing, you know, bad things happening to women.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
like from a like a male gaze type thing. Not to say there's none of that in this movie, but I think this is more focused on like what is her response, like what is her reaction, what is like this PTSD that she's dealing with. You know, it's not trying to make it sexy. It's like no, this is fucking, because some movies do that, and it's like no, this
right.
is like fucking
Yeah.
horrible, and
Yeah.
it like
Yeah.
ruined this person, and therefore everything that happens after that, you're like, yeah, fucking kill every man you run across ever. Like do it. They all deserve it. Kill everyone now. So
Yeah.
um, and again, it's very interesting movie. So I thought it was one of those like surprises for me of this year. I've always wanted to see it, but I've never seen it. So I finally watched it. I'm like, okay, that was not what I expected. Um,
Great.
mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then of movies that are from the year 2021, my favorite would be Titan. That doesn't mean it's one of my
Oh.
top favorite movies of the year necessarily, just my favorite that I saw this year that actually came out in this year. Um, to be clear. So that was fun. Lady is into cars. Something happens. Sex with cars. Uh, all kinds of fun, and also another gender thing where she's masquerading as a guy to kind of escape, but different end result. Um, but yeah, I like that one as well. Generally speaking,
I also did. I also did. I think. Wait. Yeah, if I had to pick a favorite movie from this year, that probably would be it. Like of things that came out this year that I saw,
mm-hmm.
because I really didn't see. I feel like I didn't see that many. Did I? I don't know. I'm not
According,
looking at my list.
yeah, I don't know for you. For me, I watched 9 other movies from 2021 this year. I don't remember
Okay.
what they were.
That's a fair few. You're saying that includes documentaries, right?
It
Or
does
no,
not.
that does not.
It
That's
does not.
pretty. Do you have your nine list here? Can you tell
I
us?
have to look it up. One of them would
Okay,
probably be
sorry.
Superhost. I think that's from this year.
Hmm.
But I get 2021 and 2020 confused, so I'm not exactly sure.
It's all a blur, Marcus.
It is a blur. You know that. It's
I
hard.
know. I
What?
Oh, okay. The 2021 Single All the Way. That's from 2021.
Oh, is it?
Also, yeah, it just came out this Christmas.
Okay.
And I saw the new Mortal Kombat. That was this year, wasn't it? The new Mortal Kombat film.
I have no idea. I don't.
I think it was the beginning of this year. Yes. And I saw Raya and the Last Dragon. That was this
Oh,
year. Yeah. Saw it in theaters. Can you believe it? But
I
I
saw it
think
in
I saw
theaters
something
too.
else. Oh, you did? I didn't know that. What? Oh, you saw Dune. That's a 2021.
Hmm.
Saw Dune. Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
I
we
found
watched.
my list. I found my list. I saw Horror Noir, which is a not the doc from Shutter, but there's another thing where it's like a what is it called? Where there's like multiple things in the one movie, like multiple short movies. What is that called? Whatever it's called. It was just like
I don't know.
5 different short
Yeah.
movies.
Short story.
Um,
Yeah. Compilation film?
it is not a compilation film.
Okay. I
Anyway,
don't know.
whatever it is.
All right.
Uh,
Wait. Before you say anything, we watched Fear Streets.
oh
Those were
yeah,
all 2021. Yeah, that's
I lumped
three.
that in as one movie in my list of
Okay, okay.
9.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Anthology film? Bunny Cartoon says
Anthology, that's
anthology.
what it is.
Yeah.
Thank you. Just wasn't in my brain for some reason.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Malignant.
Oh yeah, that was 2021. Oh yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed Malignant. You know I did.
Mm-hmm.
That was a bit silly, but M Displaylist says he thinks his favorite movie of this year is the discotheque dub of Memories. Oh yeah, I haven't seen that one, but that's a big release. I mean, for people who like retro anime
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
I
Yes.
watched Willy's Wonderland, which I didn't like. Um, Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Raya, Dune, Superhost, The Eyes of Tammy Faye remake, and then a bunch of docs.
Nice. Funny Cartoon also says Malignant was pretty great. I'm
Good.
glad we're getting more love for Malignant.
Yeah, everyone with
I
good
saw a lot of
taste.
people who really did not like it, like on Twitter. Some people were bashing it. My sister-in-law bashed it. I was like, it wasn't that bad. I've had fun, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we all have different tastes. It's fine.
Yeah, so
All
that
right,
was.
Marcus, do you have any others? Sorry, I interrupted you. You were gonna do your own segue.
I was just gonna say I had another movie on my list. I don't know why I put it at the end of that one. Maybe because I thought of it later. But anyway, there was also a movie I watched called um, Shiva Baby, which is either I think it's from 2020. Otherwise, that would have been my favorite 2021 release. But I think it was 2020. Anyway, it's just about this lady who's like in college, and she also is like a call girl. I guess she's actually a sugar. She's a sugar baby. She's got a sugar daddy, you know. Um, but anyway, like the movie starts that she's going to a Jewish shiva, so everyone is there, and you know their formal attire. They're having their little family get together after like the funeral or whatever, and she's there and having a lot of stress because everyone is, you know, she's like studying like gender studies or something, and all the people there, like her family, are really pressuring her, like you should be learning something that's going to actually pay, you know, pay your bills in the future type of attitude, you know, suggesting that gender studies is meaningless. um, and then aside from that kind of drama where her parents wanted her to be doing something, you know, like a doctor or a lawyer, and trying to force her to like kind of like lie to the other people who are there, the other family members, like that she's doing something more, and that she's got internships and all this stuff, right? Um, but aside from all that drama going on, like this girl is there that she like briefly dated, and there's like that drama because her family also doesn't like her potentially being like gay or bi, and want her to stay away from that girl because they're like she's trouble. And then also her sugar daddy, she didn't know, is also there, so he's
Oh
like
no.
he knows her as, and she's been lying to him as well as to what she's doing. um, so she's like
Uh-oh.
bouncing all these lies and trying to like not reveal anything about any of this. Also, she finds out the guy that is her sugar daddy's married and has a child, and the wife is there and like talking to her like, oh, you know, I need a secretary, like would you like to, you know, work for me and all this stuff, and it's like just compiling more and more stress. um so I was like, normally probably not my type of movie, but this was very good. I was like, yeah, this is.
Mhm.
I'm stressed for you.
It does sound very stressful. That sounds like a lot to deal with.
Yes. So that was fun. I really liked that one. I wasn't expecting it. The only reason I watched it is because it was like in the Vinegar Syndrome partner labels. I was like, what is this
Oh,
movie? And so I watched it.
there you go. Good.
So
Glad you
pretty
enjoyed
good.
it.
I would recommend Shiva Baby as well, which is probably streaming somewhere. I don't know. I have the Blu-ray, but yeah,
Good. That's it.
those are
That's,
my
you know,
movies.
that's a fair few movies. I have one movie.
Good.
I don't know. When I was looking at my list, I was like, if I had to pick like a top five, I'm sure I could say like
Sure.
these are the top five movies I watched from the year. But when I was like reflecting, aside from Yentl, which I said, that one that did, I was like, I could include that. But there was one that stood out from all the others. Marcus knows what it is. Maybe if you have listened to previous episodes of Pixel Pixel, you could guess from my reaction from when I watched it. But my favorite film that I watched this year is Candyman, the original film from 1992. I'm not looking at the show notes. I hope that's right. Yes,
Yes.
1992. We still haven't watched the new one, but we kind of I've been wanting to watch Candyman for a while, and then because the new one came out, I was like, let's watch it, and then we can watch the sequel. Um, I did not expect to like it as much as I did. I think I really liked the main character being an academic and writing her PhD and doing PhD research. That was really relatable. And these like condescending men in the academic space. And I was like, oh man, I can relate to all of this. And then you've got this urban legend with this like really hot villain. I was like, I like hot horror. I don't know. Like we discovered that I like maybe erotic horror. I don't
Yes.
know, but yeah, I was just blown away by how much I was into it. And I watched it again with my husband. I was like, "You have to see this," and he was like, "Yeah, it's pretty good." I'm like, "Yeah, it's amazing." So yeah, I was just really surprised by how much I liked it. And again, I haven't seen the sequel, so I don't know if it will compare. Hopefully, it's at least a fraction of how good the original was. But that was fun. And so it's my favorite film that I watched this year. Bunny Cartoons as Candyman is so good, a real classic. I'm glad someone agrees. I think you agree too, Marcus, right?
Yeah,
It's
I
good.
like it.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you like it. So yeah, that I think is a movie that stands out to me from this year.
Excellent. Good
Yeah,
choice.
that's it. It's okay to stick to one because I'm going to talk about some more things and I couldn't pick just one. So I think we'll do a little, this is like the sidebar. Marcus, you didn't have any TV shows you picked. I don't know why. Did you watch any TV shows over the past year?
I
No.
honestly like don't remember.
Like,
So
do you not write them down in the way that you write down your movies or that you
not
letterbox
really,
your movie?
no. Also a lot of times again still there it's not like a drama show. It's like
Yeah,
a documentary type show
right.
which I'll be watching. So not the same
Okay.
really. We watched some of Dear Brother. That was fun.
Yeah, it was. We had to finish it. We had problems coordinating times. And
Yes,
then
we
when we
do
get a
need.
block of time, I feel like we watch movies.
Yes,
But it was good. We'll have to
that
continue.
was
I did like
fun.
what we watched of that
That
so
was
far.
fun.
Yeah,
We got
it
to
was
get
really
back to
fun.
that because that's a fun
Yeah,
show.
let's continue. Okay, this is on the to-do list. Let's finish Dear Brother.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, um, I watched a lot of TV. Mainly one whole show that is very long. I watched all of X Files in 2021, all of X Files and both of the movies. And I am going to say that that was one of the favorite shows I watched of the year. Actually, now that I think about it, maybe the reason why I didn't pick a lot of movies is because there were a couple of TV series that stuck out to me as like something that like I had the most fun with or was the most memorable to me. So X Files was me continuing my like formative television education. I don't know. I started with Supernatural, I felt like, a lot of people talk about Supernatural. It's like such an institution, and it was like nearing the end when I started watching it. Like if the 15th season was airing or something. So I started watching all that at the beginning of COVID, I think. And then I finished it the end of last year. Well, I mean, I think I watched season 15 this year, but I went through Supernatural quite quickly. And then decided the next one would be X Files because X Files very iconic, right? Marcus, you like the X Files, don't you?
Yes.
Yes. So I watched all of X Files, and it's good. I'm sure most people would probably agree that is very good. And I was surprised by how well it held up. I thought, unlike Supernatural, like all of the seasons are quite solid for X Files. Maybe like a few like little arcs here and there where I was not as into. I didn't really like the stuff with the kid. I think this is the running theme for me when I don't like childbirth storylines. I don't like mother storylines. Sorry everyone. I just so when that sort of stuff came in, especially some aspects of it, I just didn't really like those plot lines as much, but overall very good. And now I feel like I understand all the memes and the references, and I'm glad to have seen it. So that was definitely a favorite from the year. I also watched more recently The Terror. That was the historical naval exploration story about these English British dudes on a ship that gets stuck in the Arctic Passage, and then they see a weird monster and they go a bit crazy and lots of stuff happens. That one I thought had really good atmosphere and was really interesting, and I just quite enjoyed it. So I haven't watched season 2, which has a totally different story, but I'm looking forward to watching that sometime soon. Also, I have a couple anime. Well, one anime and one, anime adjacent thing. So my favorite anime that I watched this year, Beastars. Season 1, I think technically is from last year, but I watched season 1 and season 2 this year. Really good on Netflix. That's about anthropomorphic people, animal people. How do we say that? They're like
Anthropomorphic animals, yeah.
anthropomorphic animals that
Anthropomorphize they've been
animals.
anthropomorphized.
Okay, anthropomorphized animals that live in, I guess it's Japan. They don't, I mean, a country like Japan, kind of. They're all in high school. You got herbivores and carnivores living together, carnivore instincts taking over. There's like a murder mystery going on where one of the students is killed by a carnivore and they're trying to figure out. So it's a herbivore student. I think it's a goat. I can't remember if he's a goat or a sheep, but something like that. That he's killed, and everybody's on high alert because it's sort of the coexistence that they've got with the herbivores and carnivores is on razor thread edge. The tipping point, all that stuff. Kind of like people have compared it to Zootopia, but this is like the mature, more kind of realistic version of Zootopia, like really considering how this world would work. So I quite like that. I really like Lugosi, who's the main character. He's a wolf, and he's sort of struggling with his feelings for a rabbit girl in the school. So he really likes her, but he can't really decide if it's because he wants to eat her or if because he loves her or is just horny for her. And yeah, it's a pretty interesting show. So I highly recommend that one. And then finally, another favorite was Thunderbolt Fantasy Season 3. I honestly can't believe Thunderbolt Fantasy, this puppet show, can be so good for 3 seasons. And I just love it. I love all of it. So this is the show with Uroboshi Gen is the director, I believe, and it's using these Taiwanese puppets, really intricate puppets that they then film, and it's very action oriented, but the story is like a fantasy story with lots of battles and demons and all kinds of, oh, there's a really hot demon guy. in season 3. He's really good, and it's definitely going to have another season. You can see the story has to continue, and I'm really excited to see where it goes because it continues to be great. Yeah, so we've got some folks in the chat chiming in, so I'm going to read a few of those now that I'm done with mine. We've got MDisc Playlist went through all of dinosaurs on Disney Plus. That's that one with like the puppet dinosaurs, isn't it? Like the baby.
Well,
There's
the
a weird
baby's a puppet.
baby.
I think are the rest of the dinosaurs like people in dinosaur costumes, like rubber
Oh
dinosaur
yeah, maybe,
costumes?
I don't know, but they're not CG basically.
Yeah.
It's like costume or puppetry. I remember watching that on TV when I was little. That's fun. And then for the most part, this is MDisc again. Been consuming more New Japan wrestling than any other non-anime show. Marcus, you haven't talked about wrestling lately. Have you been watching your wrestling
My
still?
wrestling.
Your wrestling.
Not
um,
specifically lately. I don't know why.
oh,
Um,
okay.
oh, I know why. Because I unsubscribed from Sling TV, which was like the cable TV
Oh,
subscription thing. So that's why.
oh, okay. Well, that would do it.
Yeah, I do like it.
Uh, yeah, yeah, good. Cody, I know Cody.
Mm-hmm.
He's a wrestler.
Yes, one of
Yes.
multiple.
There are a few of them. Yes, Thunderbolt Fantasy, they're all giant puppets. I actually saw some of the puppets, the Screaming Phoenix Killer, my favorite, in Japan when it was like the promo for the first movie, which I saw in theaters when I was in Japan in 2019. No, 2018, 2017, somewhere around there, a few years ago. And they had the puppets in a case, and they're huge. They're amazing. It was so cool to see them. And MDis says he wants to see that Pretty Boy Skater anime. I don't know that one somehow.
It's
I don't
called
know.
like Skate with a eight, the number eight.
Oh, I was thinking Ice Skater. No, no, I know
No.
that one. Skate with an eight. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Skate the Infinity. I do know that one. Is that from this year? Oh my God. I thought it was last year. Anyway, yes, I heard good things about that. I actually started watching the first episode and got sidetracked, so I haven't seen it yet. As for other anime, I yeah, watched some, but I feel like I'm a bit behind. Probably because I've been watching like X Files all year. But like I watched Laid Back Camp season 2. That was fun, but you know, kind of more of the same and not quite as high caliber as Thunderbolt Fantasy. I really want to watch Odd Taxi. That's another one. But this episode is not about what we want to watch or what we want to do. This is about what we have done and what is our favorite. So we shall continue
Mm-hmm.
with that. Marcus, we're moving on to video games.
Yes.
You want to tell us about your favorite video games that you
Yes.
played in 2021?
Yes. The first one's pretty obvious, I think, for me anyway. Even though I haven't finished it yet, one of my favorites is Garage Bad Dream Adventure. So that is one of my favorites because I just like it. I'm like when I started playing this adventure game, I just very quickly got into it in the weird surreal world that it has and the kind of strange characters, and the gameplay is not really challenging for an adventure game, which is good. um, it really flows. It feels like you know what you're
Right.
supposed to do generally, because people will
Uh-huh.
say, hey, go talk to this person, or hey, maybe they have something or whatever, so you know pretty well what you need to do. um,
Mm-hmm.
and there's like a little bit of a tiny bit of a hint type system, so you have some information. But in general, I just think it's a really unique game. Got like a weird look. Um, kind of slightly, the artwork reminds me a bit of like H.R. Giger, slightly, not quite,
Mm-hmm.
but
I see it.
somewhat.
Yeah.
And it's just odd. There are strange things that happen and things that make me get a little weird, but I enjoy it because it's like, oh, that's unexpected. Like things that are just weird details. Yeah, weird
Uh,
details that they didn't have to
weird
go into, but they
details.
do.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
and
such like it's so neat to be able to see something that feels like fresh, especially like came out in 99 and even playing now, it's like yeah, like a new experience or an experience you haven't had and it's doing things that you don't expect and you're like, "Whoa." It, somebody came up with this. I like that feeling. Like
mhm.
how did they even why? What were they thinking when they made this? I also, by the way, put Garage on my list even though I haven't finished it. So, spoilers.
Mhm.
So it's very good. And we shall definitely talk about it when we both finish it, I think.
Yes, I want to finish it.
Hmm
I just gotta finish, get the last bit
Just
done.
gotta do it. Just gotta do it.
Hmm.
Hmm
Well, sometimes when I like a game, I'm like, I don't want to finish it
That makes sense.
because
Yeah.
then
Then
it's
you're sad it's
gone. It's
over.
done.
You can never play it for the first time again.
Yeah. So maybe that's why I'm dragging a bit on finishing it or thinking that I'm getting close to finishing it. I will though. I need to know like what's the end of this whole thing.
Hmm
Um,
hmm
but yeah, Garage is a lot of fun. I definitely recommend it if you want to play it on iOS or Android. Otherwise, I'll just keep wishing that they put it on PC or something so that more people can play it. Because I'm sure a lot more people would if it were in more places like that, which it is not yet. Haven't heard anything about them doing that.
mm
Hopefully so. Though I would like to see that happen. Um, but yeah, very good game, very unusual and cool. And I just like adventure games. I like Japanese adventure games, often quite different than like Western or European adventure games ended up being. So I like that. It's a lot more experimentation. So that's cool.
Yeah.
And then another thing, I'm not because I was like going between. There's like a lot of good Otome games that came out this year,
Uh,
and so it's like, well, what is the best one? Well, I guess there isn't necessarily a best one, um, but like
the
some
best
stuff.
one is the best one for you,
Yeah, some of
Marcus.
them I was thinking about. I was thinking about like Olympia Soiree was one, and then I was thinking about Cupid Parasite because that was recently on my brain again since they patched it. And then there was also Bustafellas, which also came out. I'm like, oh, look at all these good games. Um, but I chose Bustafellas because I think that was just a lot of fun for me personally. Just a lot of fun. The characters are like the protagonist, This is like this cool chick, and she's like having fun, and she's also like helping them, and I just like it. I like the concept and also the criminal aspect, but also the like power of time going
Oh
back in time,
yeah.
whatever the fuck you, you want
Time
to call it.
travel?
Time travel. There you go. Words. Um, but I like that aspect. I like the art a lot. So it's just a fun game, and I thought that that was probably the highlight for me personally, even though I like other games as well. That was probably the highlight for now. Unless like Cupid Parasite in the next, routes like really blows me away. But it's too late because I won't be playing that now. It's the last day of the year. I'll be playing that next year.
Yep.
Um,
Then
but I
that
mean,
might be on your 2022
yeah,
list.
they're all good games. They're all worthwhile. But in general, I think that's my favorite one. Um, I didn't put Dramatical Murder on the list, even though that came out, because in the end of the day, it was fine, but it wasn't like amazing to me. So I was like,
hmm
oh, I
hmm
wanted to like it more.
Yeah, I did put it on my list, but more as a thing that I was happy that I got to
Yeah.
play. Like I think it's funny, like Garage I never heard of, and there was this game that finally came out and I'm like really into it. Whereas Dramatical Murder I'd heard of, I hadn't played, and it's finally available in English, and I was really happy to play it. I enjoyed a lot of aspects of it, but it wasn't like mind blowing or like, yeah, this experience that I'm gonna go back to as like a favorite or a seminal work that I've played. I think funnily enough, I keep going back to Sweet Pool. I really like Sweet Pool actually, and like I think about that game a lot. I'm like, yeah, that was cool. But Dramatical Murder, I think, has got really good vibes. You know, the art's really nice, the music's really nice, but the story itself, the characters were not bad, but the story, I think, I wasn't super into. I don't know, but it was still worth playing, and maybe, yeah, the act of being able to play it was more exciting for me than the finished product of what I played.
Yeah, I
That
think
makes
the
sense.
problem was they put
Yeah.
out Sweet Pool first in English, and it's like,
Yeah,
well, how
it's
can you
hard to live
follow
up
up?
to that. Yeah. How can you follow up something like that? Yeah, it's tough. That's
Mm-hmm.
so sad. And now you're reminding me how they said they're not going to be doing Memento,
Most
at least not anytime
likely,
soon. Most
yeah.
likely, they said that, it wasn't stuff it wasn't as profitable as they needed it to be to do Memento or something like that. But at least
Mm,
we still have Slow Damage coming somewhere.
yes, that is true.
Yeah. Okay, what's your final pick?
My last one is just one that I'm continuing to have fun with all the time, which is DJ Max Respect V. And this is just DJ Max Respect on PC. I have it on PS4 as well, but I prefer to play on PC because that's where I got my fun controller.
Mhm.
And yeah, this game is just good. It is a fun rhythm game in the spirit of like Beatmania 2DX, except it's not. Uh, um, so yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I have all the DLC now. I've been picking it up slowly, like over whenever there's a sale. I'll get a couple packs. So now I have all the DLC that currently exists.
I Nice.
Um, so that's great. Lots and lots of songs to choose from. I think it's like with all the DLC, it's like 400 songs or 500, something like that. So that's a tremendous amount of content for this one game, and I like that a lot. So good. It's just fun to play. I've been practicing. I'm still not good at it, but I am better than I was. So the practice is working. Um, but
You know
yeah,
what they say.
I just like it. What?
Mm, Practice makes perfect, Marcus.
Okay,
Keep
well,
at it.
I'm practicing. I'm practicing,
Uh-huh. You'll be
and
perfect someday.
I'll never be perfect, but I'll be better. Um, so yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with that. Sometimes I stream it, but usually I don't because it's like it takes a lot of effort to get that set up. Because I have to put up
Hmm.
like a camera to point at the controller that I use, and so you can see it when I'm playing, when I'm hitting the keys and stuff. But I guess I don't have to do that, but that's the way I prefer to do it because, like, well, what is the point? Who would watch this otherwise? Like somebody who's not very good at a game, play a game. At least I could do something unique.
Mm-hmm.
um, but I love DJ Max Respect. I recommend it for anyone who likes that type of rhythm game where, well, it's like a standard rhythm game where there's, on the screen there's a vertically scrolling screen with the notes are vertically scrolling on it, and you hit
Right.
them.
You hit them.
Exactly, you hit them. You can do it with a controller. You could do it with a keyboard. Uh, you do whatever you want, and it's fun, and it has good music. Even if you don't get any of the DLC, I think there's still like 130 songs, so it's not nothing. There's a lot of music.
That's quite a
Um,
lot.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if you ever played any of the old DJ Max games, like on PSP, Respect is kind of like a big compilation, so it has a lot of songs from the
Mm.
original games as well as like new songs. So you could be like, "Oh yeah, I remember playing that on PSP. I remember this song," you know. So it's nostalgic as well, at least for me. So I really enjoy it, and I would recommend that for people who want a rhythm game on PC or PS4, specifically because it's available on both platforms. And yeah, I'm just continuing to love that. I still have not unlocked everything. I have 3 more songs to unlock. Just
Wow.
3 more, and I'll be done.
Yay.
Yeah,
That's a lot. A
it
lot of
is.
content.
Yeah, that's
I
my
got
stuff.
it with some Christmas money you gave me for Steam last year, and I still
Yes,
haven't played it. The problem is it takes up so much space
it
on
does.
my
It's
poor
pretty
little
big.
laptop.
It's pretty big
Yeah.
for. I think because it's the like high resolution background
Mm.
videos is what really takes up most of the space.
Oh, I see. Yeah, but I do want to check it out. I love a rhythm game.
I'm
All
done.
right, it's my turn. You're done. That's three good games. And one actually from 2021. Very exciting. No, two. Two.
Yes.
Wow. That's right. I've got a couple from this year as well. So I already mentioned that Garage and Dramatical Murder were on my list, so I won't cover those again. I've got one, two, three from 2021, and then one that was not from this year that I'm going to talk about. So four games. I'll be relatively quick. First of all, this one is not unexpected in the least, I think. Monster Hunter Rise. That came out this year. I had a lot of fun with it. And some of my best memories were that you got to play it with me,
Oh
Marcus. I was
yeah,
so
yeah.
happy. You forgot all about it, but we played some Monster Hunter together and we got to play with our kitties in the game and fight some monsters, and it was a lot of fun. But
Mm-hmm.
I played through all the content currently available in the game, and waiting for Sunbreak. I can't Daybreak. I can never remember the name of the expansion, but they announced like basically the G rank expansion slash DLC. Like with Monster Hunter World, there was Iceborne, so I'm very excited about that. The content in Rise was maybe a little light, but when I think about World, I like the base game of World, I felt that way about that one too. So I think that's kind of just how you feel like when you're used to the G version, like you come off of Iceborne, which had all of this stuff, and then you start from the base game again. It feels a little bit light until they add on the expansion, especially with COVID and everything. Like I'm not gonna get in get get on their case. Like not like they're listening to me. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but I'm not going to disparage it because it doesn't have enough content when, things are hard to release right now. It's fine. But I, am like done with it for now and looking forward to more. The wire bug in particular was a really nice addition. I like how that makes you really speedy and you can jump around, and it's just really cool and adds a lot to the game. Surprisingly, when they announced that feature, I didn't think like, oh, that's gonna be like a game changer, but it's really good. Yeah, breaking news, and I Monster Hunter. I know I shocked everyone, didn't I?
Yep.
Yes, but yeah, I am quite enjoying Rise and look forward to the expansion this year. This year for me, since it's 2022 already. And then the other one that I quite enjoyed that I wanted to mention was Resident Evil Village. This is my first time playing through a full Resident Evil game. There was a lot of hype around this one with Lady Dimitrescu, of course. Everybody was really into the big vampire lady. And I decided, mainly because I know someone who was on the localization team and I really wanted to check it out because, I wanted to see her work and support the game. And I streamed the whole thing. I'm really excited that I was able to stream like a whole game playthrough that felt really daunting to me to like, make sure I sat down and streamed whenever I was playing. I couldn't play it outside of the stream and had to like, do a bit of a schedule. I'm not very good at streaming schedules, so it was a lot. All of it was a lot, and it was my first time playing a Resident Evil game. I don't really play shooters. A lot of stuff going on here, but I know that Resident Evil Village isn't a particularly hard game. Like if you play it on normal, I don't even get me started on watching Castle J play it on the
Mm-hmm.
hard. That was pretty intense. But for me, playing on normal mode, it wasn't like particularly tough, but it was just a really fun romp. It was like very much a theme park situation, horror theme park. And I really enjoyed it. Oh, yay. I'm glad to hear that MDis Players had fun watching the stream when he was able to stop by. Says, I still need to play Resident Evil 4. Yeah, I do. Actually, I think the next one that I would like to play on my list is Resident Evil 2 Remake. But I'm also very keen on Resident Evil 4. And that's like for everything. You can buy it
Yes.
everywhere. So one of these days I will play that. I will say I've seen all of that game.
Mm-hmm.
Watched playthroughs, so I know the game pretty well. Like I know what happens and I kind of know the strategies a little bit. That doesn't mean I'd be any good at it, but I know what to expect with it. So yeah, I definitely do want to play more Resident Evil because it was a lot of fun. Then what else? I'm gonna refer to my list here. Oh yes, Otome games. So Marcus, you picked Bust of Fellows, and I might have picked Bust of Fellows if I played it. I like probably played 20 minutes of it and then just had to play other stuff and didn't get back to it. The Bust of Fellows is on my list, but of the things I played, I'm gonna pick Olympia Soiree. I really enjoyed that one. I played through all of the routes. There's some really weirdly dark stuff and weird places it goes at points and some of those endings, but overall I was really into the world building was like quite good. The premise was interesting. I didn't think I would really be into a plot where the protagonist wants to get married and have babies as quickly as humanly possible. Like as I said earlier in the show, that's not a theme I'm into, but like I really like the dynamic of Olympia, going out into the world and learning more about the culture and society that she's in and sort of her place in the world and how all the different men and their backgrounds and the different color casts like fit in, and then how she can thinking about how she can change things, how can she can make small steps to progress and stuff like that. I just thought it was really well done. It was surprisingly intricate story and like meaty story that I had a lot of fun with. So that one was a favorite. It has really great art too, good music. I
Mhm.
recommend it if you want a solid Otome game. But again, I'll play Busafello soon. I've been meaning to, and yeah, that might be my favorite for 2022. Who knows? Except for we have a lot more Otome games coming, so I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna keep up, but I'm not complaining, that's for sure. Then, okay, we're on to my final game, and this one is not a 2021 game. This is a visual novel that I played through in a frenzy. I could not put it down. It was so good, and it was called Raging Loop. You remember me talking about this? It's a horror
Yes.
game set in rural Japan. I played it on Switch, but it's out for a lot of stuff. I think it's on PS4, PC, maybe iOS. A lot of things. Marcus, you can check me or not. Just probably wherever
It's
you
definitely
want
on
it, it'll be
PC. I know
available.
that.
I know it's on PC and I'm pretty sure it's PS4 too. Um, yeah. So on some things, it takes place in a rural Japanese village. You've got this guy. He's driving his motorcycle out into the mountains and he gets kind of stranded, and he's stuck in both a time loop where he'll keep dying and coming back, and he can't escape this village where they're doing a sort of, what do they call it, werewolf like game. It's like Among Us. Everybody compares this to Among Us, so Among Us has a visual novel, but um yeah, it's one of these situations where there are monsters within the community of people and you don't know who they are, who is the monster, and you have to figure it out. And this community, it's part of their like culture to when this situation happens, which is like a recurring thing in their society every 10 years or whatever. I think it's more than 10 years, but it keeps happening to different generations, and when it happens, they every day like get together and they basically vote people off the island, except for they kill them. So the people that they think are werewolves, then they hang them. So the protagonist is trying to figure out how to get out of this death loop he's in, but also figure out the mystery of the wolf village situation. And it's just very interesting. I really liked how they did so normally in a visual novel you have different routes, of course, but with the dying and the looping of the story, I had really interesting way of going through those story branches and how you replay it, and like that mechanic of replaying the visual novel was actually part of the story, if that's nice. So the story and the mechanics were actually really interwoven in a way that I thought was pretty unique and interesting. I gotta say, the where the story ended up at the end, I was a little, like the sometimes they over explain things, or it's like, oh, it was aliens, So I'm not saying that's what it was, but like that sort of explanation I don't always like, and the ending was a little bit weird. But overall, really good. Really enjoyed Raging Loop. So that's my final favorite for 2021. And I think we've come to the end. I just have one special mention. Marcus doesn't have a book or a manga on his list. Did you read any books this year, Marcus? You read some
Yes.
books, didn't you? You don't have a favorite book you want to shout out? How about the Elvira book? No?
I mean, that's nice for Elvira fans. I wouldn't say like it's a must read for, like general people. It'd be
Everyone.
for Elvira
Okay.
fans. Hold on, wait.
Okay. I'm holding. We're all holding for you.
Here, I'm getting it
You're getting the book.
for people who can actually see. Here, the Elvira book.
Oh yeah, that's the
Yours
cover.
truly, Elvira.
I love it.
Does it say Memoirs of the Mistress of the Dark by
Nice.
Cassandra Peterson, aka Elvira?
Mm-hmm.
Hardback.
Great.
If you pre-order it from her website, there you could get it signed, but I didn't know in time, so mine's not signed.
Oh, that's
Very
too
sad.
bad.
Very sad. And then also here we go. Hidden Passions.
Oh yeah, about passion.
The
Your favorite
Secrets from
soap
the
opera.
Diaries of Tabitha
Ooh,
Lennox.
how come
Um,
you didn't mention passions on your
oh my
favorite?
fucking god!
What
Oh
are
my
you
god,
doing?
Anne, you're
Just
right. How did I
scrap
forget
everything.
Passions?
Start over.
Passions. This is
Oh,
just a book that came out in the course of the Passion soap opera, which is really funny because in the soap opera, the character, the Tabitha Lennox, who they attribute the book to being written by, which is not because that's a fictional character, um, she mentions it in the story. She's like, "I need money. I should sell my book."
that's awesome. I love that. Breaking the fourth wall. It's so meta. She
Yes,
needs money in the
yes,
show, so she sells the book in the
in
real
real
world.
life. Um,
Great.
I don't know how big Passions was because this was a New York Times bestseller.
That's pretty impressive.
Like how big was Passions? I
I
don't
don't.
know. But anyway, yeah, that's my
That's
whole list. My TV show list is Passions. Oh my god, yeah.
mm.
Yeah, which is a soap opera that started.
I was like, yeah. I was like, did you watch any TV shows? And you was like, what is that?
I think it just became part of my life, and so I forgot.
You even started a passions
I
podcast.
did.
It's so integrated.
I
You don't even consider
forgot.
it a show anymore. Yeah, so give us a quick rundown if
Yes.
anyone's not familiar with passions, which I don't know how they couldn't be since
I think a lot of
we're
people are
talking
not,
about it.
depending on
Yeah.
your age. Passions was a soap opera that ran in American daytime TV from like 1999 to 2007. Um, it is, I think, the last soap opera that was made. In the sense that like The Bold and the Beautiful is on now, but it has been on for many
Oh,
years. It's not like it was new. It's been going on. General Hospital has been going on. You know, um, the what is it? The Young and the Restless. Blah 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 blah. Like a lot of soap operas are very long, but have been around longer. So I think this was the last new soap opera. So 1999, last big soap opera coming out. Um, and it is famous or infamous for being, I guess, having magic as a key like storyline in
mm-hmm.
it. So it's not just a regular old like drama, romance, murder. It's also magic is in there as well. Um, so it's also rather campy, silly, stupid. But I mean, I guess a lot of people think a lot of soap operas are stupid anyway. But
Mm-hmm.
it is fun. It is a fun show. It's about these people who live in like New England. It's like picturesque town, and everyone's all happy, and they're all like a bunch of married couples with children. It's all nice and wonderful in this world. Um, but there's also evil that wants to destroy Harmony. The town is called Harmony. Evil wants to destroy it all.
Uh-huh.
There's a witch. She's always like conspiring to do things, trying to kill children, basically, but being foiled all the time, kind of like Scooby Doo
Mm-hmm.
type thing. Um, there's like a Satan. There's like a lot of things happening,
Sounds like a lot.
but then there's also just
Every
regular soap opera stuff, kind of, where it's like, oh, I'm into this person, but they're like from a different they're like rich and I'm poor, and this will never work, or whatever, all these things. Um, and so it's both a normal soap opera and very off the rails. Like, girl gets tied to the train tracks, like so they could
Mhm.
kill her. Like it's some sort of Looney Tunes show or something. Um, there's so much that happens. Characters like almost die all the time, or do die, but then they don't die. Soap operas. So it's very fun. It's very long. It's like they're 2,000 something episodes. I am in like
Oh my god.
not that far. I'm in like episode 300 something.
Uh,
But I'm still captivated. I'm still into it. I'm, interested in the characters and like what happens. And I care about the relationships. And I'm like these are my people. These I like stan these couples over here, and I want them to be
mhm.
happy. But like things are,
Mhm.
it's like what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen to them? Because I know it can't be over that quickly. It can't be resolved. There's that many more episodes to go. Like what's gonna happen?
Oh, there's
So
so many episodes. Like, a lot can
clearly,
happen.
clearly a lot has to occur. But I think this show is freaking great, and I am happy that it exists and that I'm watching it, and it's a lot of fun. And yes, I did make a podcast about it because I'm that much obsessed with it and want to talk about it. I joined a
Mhm.
Patreon of another Passions podcast so that I could, because they do watches and chats, so that I could chat with them just to be like, I gotta talk to somebody about Passions, uh, about all the stuff that's happening. And yeah, I think it's great. And unfortunately, it's not like available on streaming at this point. Um, I'm not sure why. Um, because last year NBC started taking down, like, doing copyright strikes on people who had upload them to YouTube.
Mm.
And so people were wondering, because that was also when like or maybe it wasn't last year, maybe it was earlier, but it was ever Peacock was going to come out as their streaming service.
Oh, yeah.
And so people were wondering, okay, does this mean they're finally claiming them because they're going to put them up on their streaming service? But they haven't done that. And maybe they aren't going to. I don't know. I think they're probably ashamed of this show. um,
Could be. It could be.
but I like it, and I am like all about it. So I'd recommend if you can somehow get it. There are places it's available online right now that you can
There are
watch it.
ways.
I mean, it's not legal, but I got them from a soap opera collector. Because it's like, well,
I
how else
love
can I
that.
get these? They're not on DVD either. Like real on, they were never put on DVD.
Mhm.
They were just, I think, just like broadcast as like reruns at some point, and that's how people have them now. Is kind of like DVR reruns.
Wow, that's pretty
Um,
impressive.
yeah. So actually they were like the first show that was put on like iTunes. Because iTunes was only music to
Wow.
start, and then they started at some point putting on like
Mhm.
TV shows and movies.
Mhm.
So Passions was like the first show to go on iTunes.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
But yet, not available now.
No. So. Oh well. But
Well, I'm
yeah,
glad we
absolutely.
remember that. I mean,
It's
come
because of this
on.
book.
Yeah, yeah. The book. Thank you, book. Now I have a book,
Ew, I
a
could put it like my
manga.
mouth. Ew.
Ew, don't do that. This is video only content. You only can know what happened if you saw the stream
Mm-hmm.
there.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, I have a book, actually a book series, a manga that I want to mention that finished. The English publication finished this year. I think actually the Japanese version did as well. It is BL Metamorphosis. This is a really, really sweet 5 volume series about a high school girl and an old woman, an old widowed woman who both bond over their interest in BL manga together. And it's so cute. They're actually making a movie out of it, a live action movie that's coming out in Japan in
Mm-hmm.
2022, I believe. I'm really excited to see that. It's just such a sweet story. It's pretty down to earth. So it focuses well, I was gonna say it focuses mostly on the older woman, but I guess that's not necessarily true. But I think it starts with her, so it starts from her perspective and her sort of journey into BL because she's sort of the newbie. She just runs into it in the bookstore and like sees a cover and thinks it looks cute, and she picks it up and takes it home and is like enthralled by it, and so then she keeps going back to the bookstore to buy more of these, and she doesn't know like the genre, but she finds out it's this whole thing. And the high school girl works at the bookstore and helping her find volumes and things, and then they kind of slowly start talking about it. And even the high school girl lets the woman borrow some of her books, and it's just kind of about life and friendship and bonding over this thing. And I really like how the high school girl wants to draw her own works, and they end up going to a comiket together. So the comic market, the big fan event. I think it's comic market, or maybe it's a. I'm pretty sure it is, or it's an event held in the Tokyo Big Sight, but I'm pretty sure it's the actual comic market. And they have a little booth, and the grandmother, goes there and helps the girl sell her little jerry rigged manga that she's made, like a little printout that she made. And just that whole experience, and then them bonding at cafes and this and that, it's just very cute. So I highly recommend it. A bunny cartoon, also giving BL Metamorphosis a thumbs up. Yeah, if you like a nice sweet story. And I really like that it's a succinct 5 volumes. Like, it's enough time for you to learn about the characters and have a story that feels like it has more growth than like a one volume one shot, but it doesn't overstay its welcome, and it doesn't go on forever. Like, I feel like I'm past the point of collecting these really long series that go for like 20-30 volumes. I just don't want to do it. So if something like is really long, I often don't start it. But this one I wanted to get in there right away because the premise seems so cute. But I'm happy that they wrapped it up in 5 volumes. So like, it was good, it did what it needed to do. I've had enough of it, and now we can move on. So I'm looking forward to that movie version as well. Yeah, was happy to have read it this year. So, with that, I think we're coming to the end of our episode, the end of our final episode of 2021, or if you're here with me, first episode of 2022. Thank you all so much for stopping by. If you're here in the chat, I hope you have a wonderful New Year's Eve, wonderful New Year. And Marcus, any parting words from you for us? I'm putting you on the spot. I always do the outro, but
What?
anything.
I don't know. Happy New Year.
Yeah, there you go. Happy New Year, everyone. Thanks, Bunny Cartoon. Thanks, M Disc, and anyone else who is in the chat today. We had a appearance from Capsule J and Curse Blessing. All of you, thank you so much. And thank you to our lovely listeners of the audio only version as well. You're also great. And you can probably watch this on YouTube afterwards if you tuned in late, or just want to rewatch any section with our beautiful faces. I don't know, you do you. But it will be up on my channel probably in a few days. So thank you again, everyone, and we shall see you again in 2 weeks. Bye bye.